Hello, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mengs, and it's time for another Fire Emblem Engage news video. Today it is 79 days left until we can get our hands on the next Fire Emblem game, and I know that reception for Engage is still very mixed, but personally, I'm very excited for it. If the game ends up being good, then that's great for everyone, and if it ends up being bad, we can all get together and hate on it. After all, is there anything else that brings the community more together than complaining about Fire Emblem? I think not. So let's all look forward to this game, whether it be a masterpiece or a train wreck. Anyway, today we got some more news to talk about, but like always, let's start off the video by going over the things I missed from the last video. It seems I forgot to include the short profile they released on the armor knight Lois, or Loe as many people have said it's pronounced. The profile reads that he is a knight from the kingdom of Fyrene, and that he's a gentle giant wearing massive armor. He's fond of spectating friends from a distance, being content to simply watch them be happy. It seems to me like Loe can be a quiet, stoic guy who is content to be on the sidelines rather than in the center of attention, and he seems to be a bit of a philosopher. Speaking of Loe, in the clip where we see him attacking the archer, we can briefly spot what appears to be a door with hit points. Doors that can be broken by attacking them haven't been seen since the Talius games, and alongside the lightable torches that we spotted earlier, it seems like they're borrowing quite a few Talius mechanics, which is very promising to me. In this clip, we can also see that the archer is carrying an item. Whether or not this icon just symbolizes an item being in the enemy inventory, or if it shows that it drops upon killing the unit, we do not yet know. We already knew from previous trailers that movement will be a lot lower in Engage, with most infantry units having only 4 move, at least when they are unpromoted. However, armor knights, who have usually been characterized by their high defense and lower mobility, also appears to have 4 move in Engage. This is very interesting, since it means armor knights, at least when unpromoted, won't be any slower than your regular infantry units. Their speed stat will probably be lower, resulting in them doubling less and being doubled more often, but at least in terms of mobility, it seems like they are just as fast as their fellow infantrymen. This, combined with the somewhat smaller maps that seemed more focused on choke points, leads me to believe that Engage will be a game where armor knights may shine. Dagger units, on the other hand, will apparently have 5 move, meaning they most likely will be the most mobile out of the infantry classes. Up next, we got some information about the weapon triangle and the break mechanic. It pretty much works exactly the way I predicted it would. Whenever you attack someone and hit them while having a weapon triangle advantage, you inflict a break status on them. There was some confusion about how this mechanic worked due to some translation issues, but Nintendo of America actually came out and clarified it with a tweet. Whenever you perform a successful break attack on an enemy, they are unable to retaliate until after their next attack. This is pretty massive. It means that if you break someone, your other units will have free reign to gang up on them without any fear of retaliation. At first glance, this mechanic sounds terrifying, especially if the enemy is able to inflict break attacks on your units. I have very mixed feelings on this mechanic. On one side, I've always loved it when the weapon triangle is super consequential. This is one of the things I really like about Fire Emblem 4, where the weapon triangle is at its most significant. However, on another side, it seems like this feature will dominate the combat of Engage, to the point where inflicting break attacks is the only thing that will matter. I'm obviously going to have to play the game myself and experience the mechanic in person before I can make a verdict on how it affects the game. If it's properly designed around this mechanic, it could be a lot of fun, but for now, I'm a little bit skeptical. What about you guys? Do you think the break mechanic sounds like a good addition to the game? I'd love to hear your answers in the comment section below. We also now have confirmation about how fist attacks, or body arts as they call them, will interact with the weapon triangle. They will simply have advantage against bows, tomes, and daggers, which are all shown as grey icons. Aside from this, I would expect these 3 weapon types to be neutral otherwise, only having body arts as a weakness. I personally like these changes quite a bit. I think grapplers were a cool addition to tree houses, and I'm excited to see something similar make its return to Engage. The fact that body arts simply triangles everything that's grey is very easy to remember. I personally wasn't too fond of the second weapon triangle they brought into Fates, as I had a lot of difficulties remembering it. I know you could easily use the colors, but I'm colorblind, so I appreciate things being a little bit more simple. Alright, up next we have a brand new character reveal in the Pegasus Knight Chloe? Screw it, I'm just gonna call her Chloe for now. I'm sorry, but Chloe just sounds ridiculous. Anyway, Chloe is a Pegasus Knight from the kingdom of Fyrene. We've been getting a lot of characters from here lately. She's apparently an easygoing spirit that adores her liege Selene. She also likes fairy tales and pretty scenery. Chloe is definitely one of the most waifu-centric designs we've been shown so far in Engage, if you don't count that mage girl we saw briefly in the intro cinematic. She sports cleavage, a slightly visible midriff, and long, elegant, flowy hair. She's definitely designed to catch people's eyes, and out of all the designs shown so far, she is one of my favorites. She's far from perfect, but she's a lot more simple and easier to look at than most other characters, which is refreshing. I felt like they didn't go overboard on the tiny little details. There is something that feels slightly off about how her eyes look, and I can't really put my finger on it, but something about it just looks a little odd to me. Otherwise, I think she's a very pretty character and I really like her design. As far as her personality goes, I'm thinking she's going to be a little bit similar to Camilla from Fates. She seems to have this mother-like adoration for Selene, and she strikes me as the type to be fiercely protective of the people she loves. But at the same time, it also feels like she has her head in the clouds a bit. No pun intended. She seems like a bit of an airhead. It might just be her Japanese voice actor though. We get to see a brief clip of Chloe attacking what I think is a corrupted cavalier, and while I didn't spot anything new and interesting here, I will say that the Pegasus Knight animations are drop-dead gorgeous. I love the way Chloe floats through the air before bearing down on her target. So far, Engage animations have been top-notch. Last out today on the news front, we got some more information about Sigurd from Genealogy of the Holy War. A profile, a game clip, and a conversation. His profile reads that he is known as the Emblem of the Holy War, a paragon of knighthood with the blood of the Crusader flowing through his veins. We then get to see a gameplay clip of Cram attacking a corrupted soldier while wearing the Sigurd summoning ring. This means that my prediction that these rings would be tied to certain characters or weapon locks were not accurate. Cram is a mage and not even a main character, yet he's using the Sigurd ring. This probably means that any character can equip any ring, though I would imagine different rings are better for certain classes as they seem to give differing stat bonuses and skills. What's interesting about this clip is that Cram is not using the engage command against the enemy, but rather he opts to go for a regular attack. We still see Sigurd attacking as a spirit, but it seems like in this form he only provides passive benefits to his ring wearer. We can also see that their bond level is at 1, and after attacking, they gain a little bit of bond experience, with a little bar signifying how far away they are from level 2. I would estimate that leveling up your bond experience gives you bigger benefits from equipping that ring. Also, on a very interesting note, having the Sigurd ring equipped seems to give Cram the Canto Plus skill from the Genealogy games, which is a very nice callback to that game where mounted units were incredibly strong. Canto Plus allows you to use the remaining movement after attacking an enemy, which is an incredibly powerful tool. Engage does feature less movement on its characters on average, so it won't be as broken here as it was in Genealogy or the Tellius games, but it will still allow you to pull off some absolutely crazy maneuvers. This makes me wonder if the Canto or Canto Plus mechanic will make a return in Engage, or if this is an ability unique to Sigurd and his ring. If Canto does make it back, mounted units will be incredibly good, even if they only have 6 move. Do you guys think Canto or Canto Plus should make a return on all mounted units? I'd love to hear your opinions about this in the comments. Lastly, we get a clip of Sigurd talking to Alar and what appears to be these support conversations character can have with the emblems, and I would assume they're tied to the bond level that the rings have. Here, Sigurd is saying that he cares for Alar as he would care for his own child, which is a line I really dislike. I knew this game was going to have avatar worship, but for Sigurd to utter a sentence like this, I find absolutely insane. I get that he's probably just trying to be polite here, but a father should care about his children above everything else. I simply refuse to buy that Sigurd has as much affection for this walking tube of toothpaste that he does for his own son Selef. Now, Sigurd is probably my favorite lord in the Fire Emblem series, and the game that he is from, Genealogy of the Holy War, easily has my favorite story in all of Fire Emblem, so I have a very strong connection to his character. Considering the same leaks that predicted Engage also said that they were working on a remake of Genealogy of the Holy War, I am very excited to see more people get to know Sigurd and the amazing universe of Jugdral. So I'm going to try not to let a stupid little line like this ruin my enjoyment of everything, but I really despise avatar worship. It literally makes everything about the game worse. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's all the things I caught from these clips. This has been a longer video than usual since I've let the news accumulate for a bit before making it, so chances are I probably missed a bunch of important details. As always, I'd appreciate it if you could point out any such details in the comment section below, and I'll make sure to include them in the next video. Like this video if you found it useful, and subscribe for more Fire Emblem news, and you can also click on the playlist linked in front of you to be caught up to all the news on Engage so far. Thanks for watching, my name is Mengs, and I'll see you next time.